Hi guys, so today we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean Theorem. We're going to start off with a little bit of review first. So for example, let's solve for j. We have here 100 equaling to j to the power 2. I'll give you a few minutes to try out this problem on your own first. Okay. So right here, we're being asked to solve for j when we have 100 equaling to j to the power of 2. When we're canceling out and getting rid of that square root, we want to complete the opposite operation. So remember that if you have like the square root, or the square of j, we want to square root it to get the opposite operation. And so that square root will essentially cancel out that 2. And so you'll just be left with j. So that's what we want to do here. We want to get the square root on both sides. And then once we do that, we get our answer. So right here, we get j is equal to either 10 times 10, and that would equal to 10 equaling to j. Now, one important fact is that if we're looking at j here, not only can we use 10 times 10, because it would be j times j, so we would have here 10 times 10, that would work, but we could also use negative 10 times negative 10 as well. And so it's important that not only do we write down j is equal to 10, but j is also equal to negative 10 as well. So we get two answers here in the end. Okay. All right, let me clear this and let's continue on to the new content for today. So again, today we're going to be looking at the Pythagorean Theorem. But before we even go through the Pythagorean Theorem, we need to know the characteristics of a right triangle. So a right triangle is a triangle in which one of the angles is 90 degrees. In this case, we have this symbol right here that tells us that we do have a 90-degree angle. And another important factor is knowing where the hypotenuse is. So the hypotenuse is the leg, or sorry, not the leg, but the side of a right triangle that is opposite to the 90-degree angle. So what I like to do is I like to circle the 90-degree angle and point an arrow to the opposite side, and that will tell me what my hypotenuse is. The other sides here are called legs. We call them legs here. Okay. All right, let me clear this. And then let's look at the Pythagorean Theorem. So whenever we're looking at the Pythagorean Theorem, we use the formula a to the power 2 plus b to the power 2 equaling to c to the power 2. Now, as you can see here, a is just a leg. So we're squaring the length of the leg. And then we're also going to square the length of the other leg here. So a and the b are our legs, so they're going to square and add up. And that should equal to the length of the hypotenuse squared. Hypotenuse, which is c. So that's the main idea that we want to understand here, is that the legs are getting squared and added up to equal to the length of the hypotenuse squared. Okay. Okay, so let me clear this and let's try out a practice problem. So the question is asking you to find the length of the hypotenuse. We want to find the unknown length. Write your answer in the simplest form. Right here we have the length of the legs. So the legs are 10 and 24. And we know that c is our hypotenuse, because of the fact that if I were to draw a circle on the right angle and point it to the opposite side, that would be C. So I'm going to use that formula, a squared plus b squared equaling to c squared. Or you can use the formula leg square plus leg square equaling to the hypotenuse squared. That works too. Then we just have to fill it in. So we get 10 to the power 2 plus 24 to the power 2 equaling to the unknown. So I'll just leave it as c squared. Once I do that, I could solve for 10 to the power 2. I know that 10 to the power 2 equals to 100. And then 24 to the power 2, that equals to 576. And then somehow we get our c to the power 2. So next, we need to add 100 plus 576. That gives us 676 equaling to c to the power 2. And the last step is to isolate the c to get the c by itself. So again, I'm going to complete the opposite operation, which will be to cancel out the c here by using that square root. And so we're left with c equaling to the square root of 676, which would be 26. And that would be our final answer. Okay. Alright, so let me clear this. And then let's try out the nearpod activity. So the nearpod question is asking you to find the unknown length and write your answer in its simplest form. We have here the triangle where we have 5, 5, and c. So first start off by creating the formula and then solving for c. Okay, so if we're looking for c here, we need to first find out what c is. Is c the hypotenuse? Is c the leg? We need to make sure that we know what that side is called. So the first thing I'm going to do is circle the right angle and then draw an arrow to the opposite side. That tells me that c here is my hypotenuse. So my formula I'm going to use is that a squared plus b squared equaling to c squared. We have leg that's being squared plus another leg being squared, and the hypotenuse is squared as well. So we know what our legs are. We have 5 and 3. So I'm going to plug them into the formula. We have here 5 squared plus 3 squared, and that equals to the unknown length, which is c squared. So 5 to the power of 2 gives me 25. 3 to the power 2 gives me 9. And then we're left with c to the power 2. So I'm going to combine these together. We get 34 equaling to c to the power 2. Last step is to get rid of that square. So I'm going to square root the c squared and square root the 34. When I do that, I get as my answer 5.83 and then so on equals to c to the power 2. And I'm just going to round it to the 10th power, so we get here as our answer 5.8 equaling to c. I'm sorry, this was supposed to be just c. So that would be my final answer. Alright, let me clear this and then let's continue on. So let's say instead of finding the hypotenuse, let's say that we had to find the length of the leg. We're asked to find the unknown length, write your answer in the simplest form. So right here, let's find out what our hypotenuse is. Here shows the right angle. If I draw an arrow to the opposite side, I know that this is my hypotenuse. So the length of our hypotenuse is given, and then one of the sides is given to us, but the length of the leg is not. So I'm going to write down the formula, a to the power 2 plus b to the power 2 equaling to c to the power 2, which is leg squared plus another leg squared equaling to hypotenuse squared. And so I'm going to use a to the power 2 because it's the unknown length. I have one of the lengths of the leg, which is 12 to the power 2. And then the last one is that 14 to the power 2 that we're just leaving on its own over here. So the next step is to start solving for a. So I'm just going to leave a to the power 2 by its own for now. 12 to the power 2 gives me 144. And then 14 to the power 2 gives me 196. So since 144 is on the left side and I want to move it to the right side, what I can do is I can subtract 144 on both sides, and that will give me a square. So from here we get a to the power 2 equaling to 2, and 9 minus 4 is 5. So we get a to the power 2 equaling to 52. Once we do that, I'm going to get rid of the a to the power 2 by squaring both sides here. And so I get a is equal to the square root of 52, which is 7.21 dot dot dot. I'm going to round it again to the 10th power, which is 7.2. So that would be my final answer. Okay. All right. And so hopefully that helped. Good luck.